All right, let's do something fun. We're going to take a journey, a trip into the not-so-distant future, using physicist Michio Kaku's work as our guide. Let's imagine what the world could actually look like in the year 2100.
So I want you to just forget everything you know about today's world. We're not just talking about the future, we're dropping you right into it. Imagine you're waking up, not tomorrow, but decades from now. What does a typical day even look like?
So let's say your name is John. It's New Year's Day, and the first voice you hear isn't an alarm clock. It's Molly, your personal AI, who's already managing your entire life. And notice something important here. Technology isn't some clunky device you have to pick up. It's seamless. It's just integrated into your home and even into your own mind.
To really get a feel for this future, we're going to follow John through a part of his day. We're going to see this world through his eyes, starting with an emergency that's calling him into work.
So John gets to the office, and the conference room, it's basically empty. But then, poof, the room instantly fills with these perfect holographic projections of his colleagues from all around the globe. His contact lenses are feeding him information in real time, identifying everyone, pulling up their professional bios. The room then completely transforms into a 3D simulation of a damaged seawall. And here's the craziest part. John starts directing the repair robots miles away just by thinking. This isn't science fiction for him. It's just another day at the office.
Okay, so you have to be wondering, how in the world did we get here? How did our tech become this powerful? Well, it all started with the computer. Or, I guess more accurately, with the computer becoming completely invisible.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it? For technology to become truly everywhere, it first had to go away. It had to disappear, embedding itself into the very fabric of our lives, into our walls, our clothes, and even our own eyes.
You know, this journey started a long time ago. Think way back to the early days of augmented reality, like the US Army's Land Warrior project. You had soldiers wearing these big, bulky helmets with a tiny screen showing them the battlefield. It was a game changer, but it was so cumbersome. Over time, that tech evolved into smart glasses. And then, finally, it made the leap to what John uses, a simple, invisible contact lens that overlays this rich, digital world right onto reality.
And what about him controlling robots with his mind? That's the real magic. It's called a brain-computer interface, or a BCI. It's a direct link between what you're thinking and what happens in the world. No more typing, no more clicking. You just think it, and it happens. This isn't just a cool new gadget. It completely changes the very nature of work and creativity. Naturally, a technology like this completely revolutionizes our economy. We shift from what Kaku calls commodity capitalism, where wealth is tied to physical stuff, to resources, to something he calls intellectual capitalism. In this future, the most valuable resource isn't something you can mass produce in a factory. It's the unique creativity inside the human mind. It's the one thing that can't just be copied and pasted. But this whole revolution doesn't just stop with computers. No, it goes much, much deeper, right down to the fundamental building blocks of life and matter itself. It's about to totally change medicine and what we can build with nanotechnology.
To really appreciate just how big of a leap this is, you gotta look back. The first age of medicine was pretty grim. A doctor's best tools were often just a saw and some morphine. The second age brought us modern drugs and surgery, a huge improvement. But this third age, the one that's dawning in 2100, is all about molecular medicine. We can finally understand and manipulate our health at the level of individual genes and atoms.
So what made all this possible? Well, it's the same thing that drove the computer revolution, Moore's Law. That idea that computing power doubles and gets cheaper at an incredible rate. The same thing happened in biology. You know, the first human genome project cost $3 billion. Today, you can get your entire genetic code sequenced for less than $1,000. This explosion of data is what's fueling this whole new medical revolution. And the results are just astounding. When you have your own genetic blueprint, growing replacement organs from your own cells could become a routine procedure. We can target diseases at their genetic source and even start to slow down the basic process of aging. But hang on, what about the non-living world? If we can manipulate genes, why can't we also manipulate individual atoms to build whatever we want? I mean, what if we could just get rid of the entire concept of scarcity? This is really the ultimate goal of nanotechnology, the replicator. It's a device that can take the most basic atomic building blocks and, just by following a digital blueprint, assemble them into anything. A steak dinner, a new phone, even another replicator. The implications of this are just staggering. So much of our world, our economies, our conflicts, our philosophies, it's all built on the simple fact that there isn't enough to go around. A replicator would shatter that foundation completely. What happens to our society when the words I want are pretty much always replaced with I have?
So, with these incredible, almost godlike tools, humanity's biggest problems, energy, resources, even being stuck on one planet, they all start to look solvable. We can finally start to think not just as a global civilization, but as a truly planetary one.
This future is powered by fusion energy, harnessing the same power of the sun for a limitless, clean supply of energy. Nanotechnology lets us build these incredible structures, like the legendary space elevator, basically a cable that stretches right into orbit, turning a hugely expensive rocket launch into a simple elevator ride. We'd become true citizens of the solar system.
But after all this breathtaking technology, we have to come back to the most important variable in this whole equation, and that's us. Will we change as much as our tools do?
Well, according to Kaku, the answer to that is a hard no. Our technology might be futuristic, but our brains are ancient. Our core emotions, what he calls our primate principles, are the result of millions of years of evolution out on the savannah, not a few hundred years of technological progress, and they are not going anywhere. Kaku points to a classic sci-fi film, Forbidden Planet, as the perfect metaphor for this. In the movie, an ancient civilization builds this machine that can materialize anything they can imagine. The problem? The machine also materialized the nightmares from their subconscious, the primitive monsters hidden deep inside their minds. Their own perfect technology is what destroyed them from the inside out. And that really leaves us with the ultimate question. The physics of the future seems to promise us near limitless power. We will be able to reshape our world, our bodies, our destiny. But that ghost in the machine, our own timeless, flawed human nature, it's coming along for the ride. So we will have the power of gods, but will we have the wisdom to match? That's the real question for the next century.